Uh-oh. Hello. Welcome to the Learning Tree Book Club's regular monthly meeting. I'm Meredith Coleman McGee, a member. Anybody else?
I'm Mary Yusuf, and I'm 11 years old and I'm a member of the Learning Tree Book Club. Hi, I'm Salma, and I'm 8 years old, and I'm a member of the Learning Tree Book Club.
Vicky.
Oh, yes. Good afternoon. This is Vicki Jenkins, and I'm a member of the Community Library see, I can't even talk right now. I'm sorry. Of the Community Library Book Club for this afternoon. And we thank you to have you aboard.
Thank you. Okay, Miriam, what are you reading?
I'm going to be reading a book that I made called I'm Free.
Can you hold it up?
I have it on my screen.
Oh, it's on your screen. I see, I see. And this is a book that you wrote, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the, what grade?
I'm going to 6th grade.
Oh, you're gonna advance it. You're in the 5th grade, but you advance it to the 6th grade. And you writing. You're awesome. You're fantastic. You're out of sight. Thank you, girl. Let's read.
It was the trial of my life. I tested my mental fortitude, my strength, and my constitution. It was epic and heartbreaking. I was stuck in the bathroom for 3 days. My journey has started off one Saturday in May. I was going to do my regular creative writing class at school, but first I had to freshen up, shower, and go to the bathroom. All that was fine. I felt especially clean and ready for the day. When I went to the door to leave, however, the door handle came off the door in my hand, leaving the portal to my exit still locked and secure. I looked at the handle weirdly as I tried to put it back on for the second time. It did not attach. I fiddled with the hole on my door, left the blanket handle, and made no changes. I tried to pull the door by the edge and found nothing worked. I was stuck in the bathroom. Now regarding my previous statement I made where I had spent 3 days. Let me tell you, this is true. I tried many things, shouting for help from the little window above the bathroom door. My failures as follows. I hurt my shoulder when banging on the door, which made the rest of my efforts difficult. When I shouted from the window, I couldn't open it, so I pressed my face to the glass. No one was out and about. I in fact looked around for many hours, but the place that my bathroom resident stays is too close to the house next door. My screens and my view were shifted by a red brick wall. The idea of opening by getting the hinges off was first infantry, but then turned into a crushing disappointment. I could not remove them by hand, and no matter the toothbrush, cotton or swab or soap bottle could find purchase on smooth metal gears. Jamming those implements in the hole in the door did the same amount of nothing and only served to occupy me for a few minutes. I had no idea what time has passed, but was sure it had been a few hours. No lock in the bathroom, and I left my phone in the bedroom before I was now kicking myself. I tried to hit the door again, this time with my foot. Nothing. The rear gear sunk when I started getting hungry. There was water everywhere. Sure, I was not opposed drinking from the tap, through less with drinking from the toilet, though I had no reason to. The entire first day I sat starving until I fell asleep in the bathtub. I dreamt of escape and the freedom to run and walk and eat a hamburger with pickles and cheese. I awoke my slumber starving. It was still dark. I began to receive myself. I could try and break out the window, but it was a thin strip of glass pane only. That only meant to give the slightest glimpse of light and still remain privacy. Retain privacy. Privacy. What? I'm stuck in this room with just a towel and my pajamas. I would rather be stuck in the middle of the town singing at the top of my lungs than be here for one more minute. My plan started to My second plan started with the broken toothbrush and wall to live. If I could scrape away a hole in the door, then I could try to open the door from the other side. I spent hours scraping before I realized the toothbrush would run out before the door will. Oh no. I looked for other implements. I broke off the toilet scrubber, and that worked okay. I started to get really hungry and had been sampling the toilet paper and cotton swabs. They were not tasty, but I was much less hungry after eating them. Yuck. Maybe they were filling my tummy, but I was not getting any nutrition out of them. I considered the sweet smelling soap, but knew that there would be a, but knew I would get sick after eating them, and I could not stop now. The day ended similarly to the first. I exhaustedly fell in the bathtub with the towel as my pillow. I chewed on the washcloth to make sure I didn't grind my teeth. I woke up in fits. Fits and sometimes grinding down the door for a few minutes only to get tired again. No food for almost 3 days, and I was going crazy. I was too weak to get up. The door scraping had made so much little progress. I was tired, lonely, and trapped. I decided to go extreme, wrapped the towel around my head, and punched the glass window. I looked back off the. I took the back of the toilet and threw it out the window. It smashed on the ground in my neighbor's lawn. I began chuckling everything at the machine cabinet out of my window to try and get someone's attention. I was losing it. I grabbed everything and threw it out the window in my fury and fit. I kicked the toilet and began leaking. The base started flooding the room. I was nervous, but I decided this may be my chance. I clogged the drain and turned on the bathtub too. I flooded the room within minutes, and the floor and the door were made of wood. The weather, the more weather they got, the softer they are. If I could wrap the door, I could escape. So I pushed it on the door, and I was covered in water. I bent it back a little. I found out that I could jam the broken toilet in the way I could steadily bend the door. It took hours of the wet floor, and I was almost bent through for me to slip my arm through. It was almost dark on the third day when I finally stuck my hand through the space at the bottom of the door. I began to pull and push with my head and arms. When I forced my head through the space, I had water up my chin. One hand and arm through the door, and as the rest trapped still in the bathroom, I pushed the door with my feet against the sink, and water clogged the door, and I escaped. I finally found purchase by grabbing the door frame to my room. It was not loud crunch or final push that did it, but several minutes forced movement and finally got me through the door. I lied on the floor of the hall with my back scraped and body hurt and bruised. My bathroom door was bent and broken, and the whole bathroom destroyed. I was starving and tired, but I knew at last I'm free.
Okay, so how many characters is in your story, Marianne?
There's just one character.
It's one character.
Yep.
Okay. And what's the highlight of the story?
Well, it's kind of a realistic fiction kind of story. Like I wanted to make it silly and stuff. But it's technically a person trying to get ready for their creative writing class. I was in a creative writing class. I just wanted to make a story about that time. So while they were getting ready for their school day, they got trapped in the bathroom for 3 days. They got locked in. So they've been trying to break out of the bathroom ever since. They did pretty reckless stuff on day 3. And it was
Okay.
fun to make.
Yeah, kind of boxed in. Okay, well, very good. Thank you for that. Okay. Solomon, what you got, girl?
That it made among the stars.
May among the stars. Okay.
Little May was a dreamer. They said that daydreams never succeed, but little May was different.
Okay, a dreamer.
One day, May was working on an assignment for school about what she wanted to be once she grew up. What will you tell them, May? I will tell them I want to see Earth.
Okay.
Earth, May, her mother said. The flowers, the grass, the forest, and the mountains will live on Earth. I know, but I want to see Earth from out there. That's an amazing plan, little May. But then you have to become an astronaut. That way you can see Earth from space. Astronaut, do you think I can do that?
Okay.
Of course you can. If you can dream it, if you believe in it, and work hard for it, anything is possible. May asked her mom to take her to the library. She searched for books about space and astronauts. After dinner, May drew pictures of space and even made her own astronaut costume out of old orange curtains and cardboard boxes. Later, she asked her dad, but how do I become an astronaut? It seems impossible. You will find your way, May, because if you dream it, believe in it, and work hard for it, anything's possible. But space is so far away. It's closer than you think, little May. And you may get there sooner than you think. That night, May had a happy dream. She was dancing in space, surrounded by billions of sparkling stars. Below her, she could see Earth floating and turning like a shining crystal ball. The next morning, Mary told her parents about her dream. She wanted to tell everyone, and and every time she talked about it, her eyes would lighten up. All the kids started laughing. Miss Bell asked, May, are you sure you don't want to be like a nurse? You don't want to be a nurse? Nursing will be good for professional for someone like you. I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be an astronaut. They felt very disappointed. On the way home from school, Maeve was quiet. She looked out the car window, her world turning blue and cold. Nothing was the way it used to be. Alvin, Maeve started crying. Miss Bell said I can't become an astronaut. What a silly thing to say, said her mother. She told me I should be a nurse instead. Her mom wiped away her tears. My dear Maeve, I hope you didn't believe her. Of course I believe her. She's our teacher. I'm sorry Miss Bell didn't encourage you enough, but she can't stop you. No one can stop you from following your dreams. Made and made and go to space. Thank you, Mom. I promise when I get to space, I will wave to you and Dad from space, from the spaceship. Her mom took her hand and they started dancing. You must repeat to yourself, if I could dream it, if if I could dream it, if I can believe in it, if I can work hard for it, anything is possible. Made went on dreaming, believing, and working really hard. And guess what? She went to space and waved to her mom and dad on Earth.
Who was that in the picture, Solomon?
That was May when she grew up to an adult.
Oh, she actually became an astronaut when she grew up. Oh, that was it? Okay, very good. It's nice that she actually, when she was a little girl, wanted to be an astronaut, not, and she went to the library and studied about what you have to do, be an astronaut, and then she made a costume and she just stayed focused on what she wanted to do and she actually became that. And that's a great story that anything is possible and you can be whatever you reach for and set your mind to. Very good story. I'm inspired, Solomon. Thank you. Vicky, you are you ready?
Okay. I was just thinking about that. Growing up when all of the, the Army and Air Force and National Guard came to the school,
Yeah.
I joined the Air Force because I thought I wanted to fly. Down so quick to say, well, you can't see, so you can't fly.
I heard that.
Okay, so what we got here is when Black folks were colored.
Okay.
And it was through the African American Heritage Program Society. Road Trip by Claudia McMillan Williams. It was in the mid-50s. My brother and I, ages 12 and 10, were headed to New York City. My parents were enrolled in a graduate program at Columbia University by the state, because the state of Florida, due to the segregation of residents who wanted degrees in the fields not offered by Florida A&M. The university were given the subsidy of the Columbia clothes cost that was the same in FAMU. The car was loaded, luggage rack on the top, with all things one needed to set up a campus apartment. This was before the day of the minivan, and we needed towels, sheets, pillow and cases, pots and pans and dishes and brooms. And of course, TV in the middle of the back seat was loaded to the ceiling. And each one had our own space near the window. Before we left home, Daddy memorized the route and passed the map to us and called us navigators, convinced that if we misread the map, we would never get to New York City. When we started to push each other's button, as siblings often do, he would ask each of us a question that would only be answered looking at the map, looking at only one map. When the gas tank was about half full, Daddy would stop at a gas station. This was before self-serve. It was therefore before self-serve, and would stop and would ask the attendant if we could use the bathroom. And when the attendant said no, Daddy drove off. I lost my face. Daddy at the gas station that was before the self-serve. Therefore, the question to the attendant was, may my children therefore use the bathroom? And the attendant said no. And it took 2-3 gas stations and the attendant says no. Final gas station, we came to the gas station where the attendant says yes. The children could go to the bathroom. Sometimes if that failed, he would pull off to the side of the road and we would go into the woods. There was always a roll of toilet tissue in the back seat. There were no restaurants for Blacks. We had to pack enough food to make it out of the South. There was no readily available ice. There was no readily available bag of ice. So lunch was fried chicken, and dinner was peanut butter sandwiches. We munched on cookies and chips, peanuts. Usually we could find a Coke machine. Sometimes we could go across the track and find a country shack with a big tree in the front yard. We would ask the Black owner for permission to pull out a blanket under the tree, and he would say yes. The only motels in the large city, there were only motels in the large city. So Daddy had planned the trip each to big cities such as Atlanta. If things went wrong, we had to find a rooming house and share the bathroom with others who lived there, others who were there. Finally, we would reach New York City, New Jersey turnpikes. We were excited. We ran up to lunch counter for a meal, sitting there with our feet hanging from the stool. A new experience that we had longed for, but none that was never possible in Pensacola. Summer in the city made it all worthwhile. We were around looking up into skyscrapers, riding the subway, marveling at the hustle and bustle of the city, buying candy apples and cacos on every other corner, living on the 8th floor of the student housing. There was an elevator, watching children sleeping on the benches in the Central Park, standing over gates in the sidewalk, feeling hot air blowing under our legs. There was and I like this, but growing under our legs, going through the front door of the movie. Love Broadway started then. My love of Broadway started then. When the Interstate Fair came to Pensacola once a year, that was the highlight of our season. But Coney Island was much more exciting. It was there all the time, with wonderful way to spend the summer. I think that was so good. I'll stop right there, but that was so good because it came to my attention that walking through the front door of the movie theater, because we were not allowed to go through the front door. And this was like in the 60s when I was growing up in Clarksdale. I chose never to go to that movie theater because I was not going up the back stairs anymore. I went to the back stairs once. I chose not to go to that movie theater. Those Black residents, I keep telling you about we couldn't go on the other side of the highway, but our Black residents, we built our own movie theater. And it was located in the quote unquote equal thing of Fair Street, but we built our own theater. And so we never went downtown to have to go to a movie theater. And that's what caught my attention right then when I read that little
What's the name of y'all movie theater in Clarksdale?
the Roxy.
Oh yeah. Well, we had the Alamo. It's still, the building is still there. One screen. How many screens y'all had?
One.
Yeah, we had one screen.
But now that was caught my attention too when we decided that there was not going to be any movie theater that we would attend downtown. We would build our own movie theater, which we did, was called the Roxy. So, and it was in good business. And I really don't know exactly when it closed, but naturally it is closed now. But it was big. It was a good business at the time. So that's
Did
what
they
caught my.
preserve? Did they
Huh?
preserve the? Did they preserve the building as a historic building? The Roxy.
No, it's not a historic building. No, it's not.
Oh, okay. Or they tore it down?
No, the building is there, but it's empty. Nothing has been put in it, but it's not listed as a historic building.
Oh wow.
And it was on the corner of a street on the block. And as I was saying, equal to Fair Street here was our street, 4th Street. and it was bustling business.
Yeah.
And it was on that corner, but it's closed now. But it's not it's not listed as a historic site though.
Okay. Very good. Thank you for that. Mary Ann, Solomon, y'all got any questions? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna read. Think I know I read a few pages last time, but Mary Ann Solomon was here, so I'm gonna start at the beginning. Henry Boyd's Freedom Bed, a true story of a Kentucky enslaved African who fought for his freedom and became one of Cincinnati's most important furniture makers. Henry Boyd, introduction, and Henry Boyd. Okay. Henry Boyd's freedom. You all see this bed frame that Henry Boyd made that people still buy? Man, like 160, 70 years after he designed it. Y'all see it? I was so impressed with that. Because I knew that, of course, a white man had to get a patent for him. I knew we were great builders, some before they ever came to this land, but I didn't know. I mean, I was just so proud that his bed design is still circulating. Yeah. This book is dedicated to the most creative woman I know, my sister, Laura Miller. Like, boy, you can and will do anything put your mind to. Okay, here we go. It was a dewy spring morning on a farm in Carlisle, Kentucky, when Henry Boyd was born. The year was 1802.
Uh-oh.
1802. Wow. That was a long time ago. Man, that was like wow, 220 years, something like that. Okay. His mother was an enslaved African, and his father, a white man, owned them both. And man, that was a story of a lot of enslaved. Their father owned them and their mother. And then legally, if the woman was a slave, the mother was a slave, then that means the children was enslaved. That was the law. And who makes the laws? Though Henry was born into slavery from an early age, he would know two worlds. Freedom was in his father's home, so close he could taste it. But Henry was black, and black men in Kentucky were not free. And this is the image of his father's home. Of course, it's brick with 2 floors. And that's the image of where he and his mother lived. Of course, the image may be prettier than their reality was. When Henry was 5, he started working on the hemp farm. Vicky, what is hemp?
Where is him?
In Kentucky, hemp was a crop that made landowners lots of money. Farmers used hemp to make ropes that were used for all kinds of industries from farming to boating. In the spring, Henry and the other slaves would sow hemp seeds by hand, day in and day out. And this is an image of hemp.
Okay.
I thought it would have been green. Anyway, in the summer, they would go row by row, pulling the weeds that grew through the crop, pulling them by hand, left Henry's arm sore and his hands wrecked. His back hurt from bending over all day. But that didn't matter because every morning they were back at it, pulling weeds day in and day out. But I know about that bending. But when I do the yard, sometimes I get tired of bending and I kick the stem with my foot out the way. But anyway, I can imagine how tired they were when they said that his hands were cracked and this workload looked so heavy. And so I'm glad that the story will have a happy ending, but you might not get there today. When the leaves turned brown and began to fall, Henry knew the harder work was coming. Oh my goodness, it's getting harder. Every day was cutting and stacking stalks. No one could go home until a field and a half was complete. Wow. But sometimes when I do my yard, I don't bite all of the yard. I leave a few bites, but here's a life where they had to finish everything. Wasn't no coming back the next day. They had to do it all. That just shows you that was a hard life. Work so hard your hands hurt. Correct. Work was hard, but Henry always found the joy. He found the joy. His favorite part would come right before spring. Then he got to use the brake, the farm's wood machine that removed the fibers from the stalk. The brake operator could press 250 pounds of fibers a day. A brake has boards that intermesh at the handle as the handle comes down. This action breaks the hemp so the fibers can be removed from the bird, the woody center of the plant. Henry loved the brake. I guess so. It's a machinery that made work lighter. He loved that if it started as a tree and that someone was able to make it into something he could use to make his life better. One day he thought, I would make useful things out of wood. So here's the picture of him using the machine that made his work lighter. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. Um, Mary Ann, it's your turn next.
Have they?
Yes, I think she's looking for a book.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna read some of my poems.
And that's something you wrote, Mary Ann?
Yeah, like some of my poems that I.
What's the name of it? I'm gonna type it in the chat.
Okay. The first one is last day of fifth grade.
Oh, wow. Last day of fifth grade. Okay, I get you.
It's time to wear that pointy hat with four sides and a tassel to celebrate our year's hard work of study and hassle. Now you're a graduate, so please don't try to shrink. You may not have to study now, but soon you'll have to work. A time is looking back at lessons learned, adventures shared, bright moments filled with special meaning. A farewell. A time to say goodbye to old friends, to times you've known. A time for packing away memories, treasures for tomorrow. A beginning. A time to look forward at a time to set new goals, to dream new dreams and try new things, and see what lies beyond. I wish it could all be the best as you continue your journey of education. I know I'll be amazing.
Okay, very good. You got another one?
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you something. What was the most exciting thing about the last day of fifth grade?
We got to walk down to a church.
Oh,
And-
yeah,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
whole class?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that was nice.
Okay. So
What's the name
I
of your
made I made two summer poems, and one is called Hike.
Say that again?
Called Hike.
Spell that. I get you. Okay.
Out on a hike in summer's deep woods, the bugs in my face, as I knew they would. They fly up to my nose and they buzz in my ear. I swat them away, but it's soon very clear that this is their home, it's their land, and it's their place. So, when in the woods, I will swat my face.
Okay, that's the end.
Yeah.
How many lines is in your poem?
12 lines.
Oh, yeah? How many stanzas?
3.
Okay. Have you ever been hiking?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, yeah. That's something I've never done yet. I have to try it.
When
Okay.
hiking,
Yeah, I've never been hiking before. Have you?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
No, I was asking Vicky, have you ever been hiking?
well, yes, when my friend and I went to Denver, Colorado, I went for a hike.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Oh,
we had
okay.
mountain. No, I had never seen a mountain before. So we went in with the mountains. So I had a hike then.
Oh, yeah. Y'all walked up.
Yeah, we walked up.
Okay. I have been driven up. I never walked. Okay. Oh, Mary Ann, you got another one?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
one more.
What's the
It's
name of it?
called Summer Days.
Summer day, like two words.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Summer day.
Summer days, nights are long, make me want to sing a song. It's hot and dry, but I still sing when I hear the ice cream man bells its ring. Snow cones and ice pops keep me cool, even though I love the pool. Summer's speeding by so fast, oh, I wish these days would last. For when it ends, I must abandon my pool. I really dread going back to school. But in the end, it was a surprise because I had the best summer of my life.
Okay. Yeah, so what made that summer day so special?
Oh, because I get to like hang out with my some of my friends from last year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, hanging out with friends. Y'all gonna be going to the same school?
Some of us.
Okay, okay. Very good. Thank you for that. Keep writing. Yeah. Solomon, you got something there?
Okay, the next book I'm going to read is The Night Flower.
Hold it down a little bit. The night flower. Okay. Okay.
The desert is greeted by the climbing sun. It's vibrating and busy now. That spring has begun. Can you spot the fireflies and spike and so spiky and tall? Heaven for wildlife, the large and small.
Now that picture is full of a lot of flowers. Why are those? I mean, yeah. Why are? What do they say about all of those? What do they have in common? All of those flowers.
They grow in the same place.
They what?
And they grow in the same place and they're green and spiky.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank
A top of sorghums at great softy heights. Birds can sit safely and rest from their flight. Woodpeckers tap, making holes with their beaks, little round homes where they can retreat.
So that's a cactus.
Yeah. The desert blue paints pink, orange, yellow, and red, while bees, butterflies, and birds dance overhead. Bright colors petals call out to small beasts, extending them near front for nectar-filling bees. Hiding in shade beneath sweet-smelling trees, wandering near or during the leaves. Young squirrels leap from thin branches that swing. They hop and they hide, carefree as they play.
Those are deer, bluebirds, and squirrels.
Yeah. As temperatures rise, the sun bakes the hard ground. Sleepy eyes close and there barely a sound. Spotty scales lizard look out at the view, waiting for nightfall when noise will ensue.
What did that page say about temperatures?
Like as the temperature gets hotter and hotter, it's like describing how the sun will like bake the ground.
Okay.
Animals wait for the night flowers show, but for now the whole desert is sleepy and still. A tortoise plots by the heat of the day, while a round snake laughs as smoothly away. The desert wakes up as the temperature cools. Animals search for the precious first bloom. They head for a cactus, the tallest in sight, watch it, waits and watches as they turn to night. As the darkness sets and moths stir in the light, searching for flowers in the cool desert night. A fierce prairie hunter with sharp pointy teeth howls in the sky on its little pink feet. And high on cactus beneath the bright moon, a tiny green bud is beginning to bloom. Its white petals unfurl and reach high, and it then fruiting regates fills the night sky.
That's a beautiful flower.
As more flowers wake in the course of sun, new creatures appear for this special event. Brown bats with black wings sense something sweet and gather to sip from this night bloom tree. Around the Sargasso in the shining moonlight, the desert is fussed and thrilled tonight. Bobcats chase past rats and ringtails climb high, while the blooms rest like stars against the night sky. At the dawn of the day, when the new sun, rising sun, the bat hurried home to take care of their young. For the birds and bees, there were still 4 hours to visit the cactus and sip from its flowers. The desert went quiet as the day started new, but the busy Sargento has work yet to do. Its flowers will close and a red fruit will grow, with seeds that will make a new garden.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. What was the most important thing you liked about that story?
It was like telling all the details of other natures in different parts of the world.
Okay, okay, very good. Vicky, you ready?
Yeah. Bloody Sunday Revisited. I was afforded the invaluable opportunity to witness President Obama remarks at the Edmund Pettus Bridge during the 50th anniversary of the Bloody Sunday. Perhaps the most pivoted memory of the civil rights movement. It was by the large, joyous occasion with those who attended, basking in the positive energy born of all being innately aware that they were witnessing history and a miserable testament of progress, unquestionable nature of human spirit, and the triumph of good over evil. But a mere 100 feet outside the camera glared, there was a discourse I had noticed almost immediately, long before the first guest speaker had uttered a single word. A small group of adolescents who were smoking cigarettes, roughhousing, shadowboxing, generally acting irreparably. I watched them intermittently before dismissing them as chuckleheads, and turned my attention to the dais, to the scheduled speakers. And was disingenuous began to arrive, and the dignitaries began to arrive. By the time President Motorcade arrived, an hour later, I had completely forgotten about the rowdy teens. Rowdy teens' presence known. One of them played a cadence in a snare drum, while the others chanted, "We want change." Those around, many of whom were old enough to witness the Bloody Sunday and have suffered through and for suffered through and endured overcoming adults having suffered through a bit overcoming atrocities of the civil rights era, attempting to shout them down out of the shadow, but remained indigent. It remained indigent, attempting to shout them down, but they remained indigent and unsupervised and undisrespectful until someone in the crowd managed to get attention. A group of Alabama state troopers. The troopers persuaded the teenage, to disappear without further exacerbating the situation. At the end of the carrying out, a purple-haired protester who had sprawled herself at the foot at the end without incident. It was surreal when you consider that 50 years that very day, the nation watched 500 colored peaceful protesters were bludgeoned and brutalized by Alabama state troopers, and they sought to march to Selma, state capital in Montgomery, to petition their right to vote. These groups of 8-9 protesters, the majority of whom were African Americans, were treated and much more respectfully, humanly. I wrote unchartedly to believe that the free speech and world chanting, capitalism, peaceful protests, civil disobedience. But I feel confident that there was no John Lewis, Diane Nash, Julian Bond, Whitney Young amongst this group, and I noticed, convinced that that they knew they were protesting. Their discontent seemed fueled by teenage angst, peer pressure, grandstanding, and tied to any reliable cause of the struggle. More, look at me, drawing attention again to injustice. I thought ironically that while they were chanting for change, the first African American president of the United States addressed a multicultural, socioeconomically diverse crowd, 10,000 to 20,000, from the foot of the bridge, whose namesake was founding of the members of the leaders of the founders of the member of the leaders of the Alabama KKK. It amuses me to think that Edwin Pettus must be rolling around in his grave, knowing that the bridge that bears his name, now a symbol of civil rights victory, civil rights victory monument, and the fortitude of the people tried to intimidate, terrorize, that was still lost those adolescent protesters. Something tells me that 10 to 15 years from now, when those misguided youths are punching clocks, paying mortgage, raising children on their own, regretting their behavior, and heroic, regretting their behavior, and take solace in knowing that their own opulent disrespect for the office of the president in the United States of America was skewed by youth ignorance that, after all, is more than I can say for Congress. Bloody Sunday.
Yeah, sound like they might have been there.
Yeah. I remember walking across the bridge, and you know, us sorority members, we had this walk across the bridge over Selma. And we had some of the, like I said, we had some of the people who were there at that time. And they gave us some information and tell us about it. And that was very interesting, and you could feel what was going on. And yeah. John Lewis was there, and yeah, he came and he spoke.
Yeah. I've never seen him. Oh, I did see him. He spoke at the unveiling of the statue at Ole Miss.
And he came to the Museum of History over here when it was the grand opening. He and Maddie Evers,
Yeah.
and they came and they spoke.
Yeah.
And they brought Trump here to speak, but they had to take him out, take him inside.
Oh. Well.
And he spoke for a minute, and then he left.
Yeah, I got but I'm gonna read 1 or 2 pages. Okay, again, I'm reading Henry Boyd's Freedom Bed. And it's based on a true story. Now, this is an image of Henry and his father. Do y'all see that?
Okay.
See it. Can y'all see it?
Okay.
Do you see it? Henry and
Okay.
his father.
Okay. Yeah.
Y'all see it, Marianne?
Yeah.
Okay. When Henry was a teenager, his father called him to the big house. His father said there were too many slaves on the hemp farm, so Henry had to leave. Henry was to be hired out to work at a Virginia salt works. A few days after New Year's Day, he and other men from the farm would leave their families and walk 150 miles to the salt works. That's interesting. They had to walk 150 miles, go be hired out. They probably had to have a written pass to even walk that far. I can't imagine how many days it took to walk that far. His father told him there was an opportunity at the salt works to make extra money by working overtime. Whatever extra money he made, his father told him he could keep. Henry thought, perhaps I can buy my freedom. Henry didn't show his excitement, but he was thrilled. He was thinking about freedom. I don't blame him. He didn't know what to expect, but the ideal of freedom was something he'd been ready to taste since he was a little boy. Because remember, they said that he saw 2 worlds. One world inside his father's house, which he couldn't enjoy, and another world in his mother's house and out there in the field, which he lived. Okay. Kanawha Salt Works was a dreary place where no one looked happy. Wow. No one looked happy. They probably was overworked. There were hundreds of men smoking boilers and a mountain without trees. They had all been cut down for fuel and to support the coal mine shafts. The only thing that was beautiful there was the river. When Henry could steal a few moments, he would sit near it and watch the boats float by. To him, the water meant life, hope, and one day, freedom. So that's them looking. Damn, it looks dreary. Day in and day out, Henry would nearly break his back dipping out the salt. He worked overtime so he could make enough money to eventually buy his freedom. Work was dangerous, but Henry was on a mission. Henry's first assignment was to work on one of the salt derricks. Tall structure was so rickety that Henry thought he would get hurt if some of the wooden beams came loose. One day he pointed out some weak joinery to one of the boss men and suggested a fix. Add a diagonal support beam to make the structure stronger. The boss was impressed, interested. He was impressed. After fixing the derrick, Henry was sent on a new assignment, assisting at the cooperative. The cooperative was a safe place to work at the salt works. Oh my goodness. He went from this dreary place to, after making a good suggestion, to a better place. Henry was relieved. Not only was he going to be safe, but he got to help make barrels. He hand planed the wood and helped the coppers bind the staves in iron. All of this language is just foreign to me. I don't know. I don't even know these words in the dictionary. Henry helped me make 7 barrels each day for the salt to be packed into. If the coppers made more than 7 barrels, he would get 10 cents per barrel. Henry worked overtime so he could get money for his freedom. So day in and day out, he made barrel after barrel because Henry was on a mission. At night, Henry talked to enslaved Africans from other states. Some had tried to escape slavery and were working to make enough money to go north.
My word.
Okay, did I show y'all this is the barrels and those other words I mentioned that I don't know what they mean.
Okay. Okay.
Now, at this time, Cincinnati was freedom. Before they changed the law again, you had to go way to Canada. And who makes the laws? Okay. At night, Henry talked to he also met Freeman, who told him about Cincinnati, Ohio, a free city just north of the Ohio River that was growing so fast that they needed carpenters, furniture makers, and anyone handy with tools. Henry thought if he could make enough money to buy freedom for himself and make it to Cincinnati, once there, he would find enough work to make enough money to buy freedom for his younger siblings. He was not just thinking about Henry, he was thinking about his family too. Okay. Oh my goodness, I made overtime. So we get 2 minutes left. I really like this story.
Uh-huh.
Henry Boyd is that's just a great story because look, his
Yeah.
legacy lasted over 200 years. I mean, I bet you no born 200 years ago when it was illegal for us to even read and write could have imagined that a story would have been written about Henry. And here we have Mary Ann writing stories and poetry and all of that. And guess what, Mary Ann? One day, 200 years from now, somebody might be reading the stories and the poetry written by Mary Ann. And then she got her sister Solomon sitting right beside her. She learning and growing and been reading since she was 5 years old very well. And this is just amazing. And Vicky's reading us always, she always got a good story to read to her. But I really enjoy reading with you all for 1 hour and a half every month. You are my best friends. Thank you. Y'all got something to say before we end? So we got like 1 minute there. Thank you.
You know me.
I know it. Mary, do you? I knew she was gonna do that. She ain't got nothing to say. She gonna show it to you. All right, power to the reader. Y'all have a wonderful Saturday. Thank you and see you next month, first Saturday.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.